Easter is such a special time, and years ago, everything was made new by one man, Jesus. God sent his very own son, Jesus, to renew what had been broken by sin. Our Easter story begins when Jesus was 33 years old, and it was almost time for the Passover feast. Jesus and his 12 followers, called disciples, were in Jerusalem, sitting at the table, eating the Passover meal. While they were eating, Jesus took some bread, thanked God for it, and broke it. He then gave it to his disciples and said, "This bread represents my body that I am giving for you. Eat this to remember me." Then Jesus took a cup, again thanked God for it, and gave it to his disciples. He said, "Every one of you drink this. This represents my blood, which begins the new agreement that God makes with his people. My blood will be poured out to forgive sins." After the meal, Jesus took his disciples and went to a place to pray called the Mount of Olives. While all of this was happening, the leading priests and the Jewish elders were very upset about Jesus. They were afraid that people were going to follow him, so they had a meeting and planned to set a trap, arrest Jesus, and have him killed. That night, as Jesus and his disciples were praying at the Mount of Olives, they came to arrest him and turn him over to Pilate, the governor. They took Jesus to Pilate and told Pilate, "We caught this man telling things that were confusing our people. He also calls himself the Christ, a king." Pilate turned to Jesus and asked, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answered, "Yes, I am." Pilate called all of the people together with the leading priests and the Jewish elders, and he said to them, "You brought this man to me. You said he was making trouble among the people, but I have questioned him, and I have not found him guilty of the things you say. Look, he has done nothing for which he should die, so after I punish him, I will let him go free." A crowd had gathered, and all the people shouted, "Kill him!" And they continued to shout and demand that Jesus be killed on a cross. Their yelling became so loud that the Roman leader, Pilate, ordered Jesus to be taken away and whipped. Pilate's soldiers used thorny branches to make a crown and put it on Jesus' head. They laughed and bowed before Jesus and made fun of him. Then they led Jesus away to be killed on a cross. They led him out of the city to a place called Golgotha. They made Jesus carry the cross, which he struggled to carry because it was heavy and he was weak from where they beat him. As Jesus fell, the soldiers saw another man in the crowd named Simon of Cyrene. They forced him to carry the cross as Jesus walked behind. They finally reached Golgotha, the place called the Skull. There, they nailed Jesus to the cross. There were also 2 criminals to be killed, and they also nailed them to their crosses, one beside Jesus on his right and the other on his left. Jesus prayed to God and said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing." The soldiers put a sign above Jesus' head with a charge against him written on it. The sign read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." The leading priests and the Jewish elders were also there. These men made fun of Jesus and shouted, "He saved other people, but he can't save himself. People say he is the King of Israel. If he is the king, then let him come down now from the cross. Then we will believe in him." It was about noon, and the whole land suddenly became dark. There was no sun, and it was dark for 3 hours. Then Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Father, I give you my life." After Jesus said this, he took his last breath and he died. At that moment, the curtain in the temple that separated a very special holy room from the rest of the temple was torn into 2 pieces. The huge, strong curtain tore right down the middle from top to bottom. It was God showing everyone that now, because of Jesus, we can all draw closer to Him. There is nothing separating us from God. The army officer and the soldiers guarding Jesus were very frightened and said, "He really was the Son of God." That evening, a rich man named Joseph of Arimathea came to Jerusalem. He was also a follower of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked to have Jesus' body, and Pilate gave orders to the soldiers to give him the body. Wrapping Jesus' body in clean linen cloth, he put the body in a new tomb he had cut in a rock wall. To block the entrance of the tomb, he rolled a very large stone in front of it. On the first day of the week, very early in the morning, some women who were followers of Jesus came to the tomb. They brought spices they had prepared. But when they got there, they discovered the stone had been rolled away. They quickly went in looking for Jesus' body, but it was not there. Suddenly, two men in shining clothes stood beside them. The women were very afraid and bowed their heads to the ground. The men said, "Why are you looking for a living person here? This is a place for the dead. Jesus is not here. He has risen. Do you remember what he said in Galilee? He said that the Son of Man must be given to evil men, be killed on a cross, and rise on the third day." Then the women remembered what he had said and quickly left the tomb to find the disciples and the other followers. When they found them, they told them everything that had happened at the tomb. That evening, Jesus' disciples were still together. They locked the doors because they were afraid of the Jews. Suddenly, Jesus stood among them. They were terrified and thought they were seeing a ghost. But Jesus calmed their fears and said, "Why are you troubled? Why do you doubt what you see? Look at my hands and my feet. It is me." The disciples were amazed. He said to them, "Remember when I was with you before? I said that everything written about me must happen. Everything in the law of Moses, the books of the prophets, and the Psalms." Then Jesus later appeared to his followers, opened their minds so that they could understand the scriptures. He said to them, "It is written that the Christ would be killed and rise from the dead on the third day. You saw these things happen. You are witnesses, so you must go. Tell people about me and what I have done for them. Tell them to believe in me, and their sins will be forgiven. Start in Jerusalem and preach these things in my name to all nations." Thomas, one of the disciples, was not with the others when Jesus appeared. When they told Thomas that they saw Jesus and all the things he said, Thomas replied, "I will not believe it until I see the nail marks in his hands, and I will not believe until I put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side." A week later, the disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. The doors were locked, but Jesus came in and stood among them. He said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here. Look at my hands. Put your hand here in my side. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas said to him, "My Lord and my God." Then Jesus told him, "You believe because you see me. Those who believe without seeing me will be truly happy." The disciples went to Galilee, and Jesus came to them saying, "All power in heaven and on earth is given to me. So go, make followers of all people in the world. Baptize them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach them to obey everything that I have told you. And be sure of this, I will be with you always, even until the end of the world." While he was blessing them, he was taken up into heaven. As they strained to see him rising into heaven, two white-robed men suddenly stood among them. "Men of Galilee," they said, Why are you standing here, staring into heaven? Jesus has been taken from you into heaven, but someday he will return from heaven in the same way you saw him go." The disciples were filled with great joy and worshiped Jesus and praised God. And this is the true story of how one man, Jesus, made everything new. This is the Easter miracle.